What's up, people? Welcome to the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a Friday, it's the beginning of the weekend. Thank you, everybody who's checking in. If you're new to the channel, what's up? If you're an early regular, what up to the early regular crew? Spook Realm 4Q, you are number one. Again, your streak is back. I think you might be 3 weeks in. Um, Rule number one, get the book. Say this every week. I'm going to say it every week. Get the book. My brother's name is Kenny. The link is in the description below. If you're new to the channel, it's the story of a lifetime about BDP. That's all I'm going to say. Check out the link in the description below. If you're new to the channel, please. Rule number two, please hit the thumbs up if you get a chance. Only if you get a chance. Only, if you have nothing else to do, hit the like button. It helps the algorithm so we can get more like-minded people in the chat. And rule number three, big up to the mighty Rewind crew who's going to check this out later on. Okay. We got a chat right off the top, so I'm going to jump into this first. Let me make this a little bit bigger so I can see. Base check. 1212 KP on the wheel. Salute. Got a Free Souls of Mischief, Brother Ali Slum Village show. We going into in a minute for my birthday. Salute, Leos. That's dope. If you get a chance to say what's up to them, say what's up to Brother Ali. He's a cool dude. Like I said, I've done a interview with him about 3 years ago on his channel, and it was the best interview I've ever done in my life. Dope interview. If you guys get a chance to find it, please check it out. And also, if you get a chance to talk to the Souls of Mischiefs, tell them I said what's up. That's my people too. That's Dope Riding Dirty Face. I hope you have a great time. Sun Village had that one record with Dwelle that broke through, that was a hit that I used to like a lot. Napoleon, what up? Sydney Rhodes, what up? Let me see if I can run through this. See how fast I can get through this without stopping. B-Boy Jones, and what up? Gregory Nettis said, yo, Kenny, that Jesus story was funny, but why he had to throw the devil's horn at you? He got the devil in him. When he threw it again, I was like, yo, this boy is something. Yeah, real quick, I dropped yesterday the first installment of BDP for the Win. Some stories about when things went pretty well for your boy out in the field. And the first installment is about Busta Rhymes in effect. And there's a story about a Jesus character who was acting very peculiar. If you guys get a chance, I'm not going to spoil it, but please check it out. I just dropped it yesterday. So please, when you get a chance, check out the For the Win. I have a few more of them coming if you guys enjoy it. Sydney Rhodes, what up? Rosmel, what up? I said Napoleon. What up from the ATL? You in ATL, Napoleon? Aaron Logan, what up? B-Ball says, yes, KP, that Jesus story was kind of creepy, and I couldn't help but wonder if he was a white Jesus like Torre said about Kanye's chain that had him so bothered. I don't know. I didn't see that. I just know that that guy's energy made me feel like I was not in a place where I should have been. Don't know why. My faith is strong, but something about his energy just turned me off. The visuals of that whole show was kind of odd. Great show, but the visuals left me scratching my head. And then when backstage, when that guy was acting like that, I was like, I don't know about this. Let me step off. Isaiah Winbro, KP, any MOP stories? I mentioned the MOP story. I said I was good. I mentioned the MOP story in the last show. I think you asked. I was talking about playing pool with Billy Dance. Shout out to Billy Dance and Fame and Lazy Lays and the first lady of MOP. Rest in peace to my girl Fox. What a sweet, sweet, sweet woman. Rest in peace to her. Uh, I never chilled with MOP that much, except when we were making the song My Kind of Ninja with Heather B. There's a whole story behind that. Me and Heather kind of got into it a little bit when we were talking about it. Heather was the first guest on this show, so if you go back like 2 years to when Heather B was on the show live, we talk about MOP. I mean, I could go into the making of that story, but it's like a whole thing. I would really want to get into it, like do a whole thing about it, because it's interesting how that whole thing came about. I never really chilled that much with MOP. Let me move down. Let me move down. Jason Wall, what up? Hype Style, what up? You guys are talking about video games. I've never played a video game in my life, really, maybe once or twice here and there. So um I have no comments on that. Uh, Let me see if I got everybody. The Bobby W2 for the win. What up? Silk Child, my man. KP, what's good, bro? We're here Friday night already know. Yes, like, share, the portal, brother. Yes. Silk Child, once again, always thank you for your contributions to the channel. Much appreciated. Uh, B-Boy says, KP, that for the win was good. We definitely need more of those. Yeah, I mean, I like feel good stories. I've told quite a few on this channel for the live. I might tell some over again in more details for the win because, like I said, there's a whole different audience that watches the videos as opposed to us here on the live. I mean, there's people on the live that watch, but there's way more people that watch the videos. So a couple of the wins that I have, I'm gonna tell again, but the wins never do as well as the negativity. Negativity videos always do really, really well. Negativity in general, that's just how we are. We like drama. But I still want to, even if, only a handful of people watch it, I want to do it just to get out there some feel good stories. I have a bunch of really feel good stories and things that I'm amazed as a hip hop fan, forget being in the music industry or whatever, just as a fan of hip hop, I've had some amazing moments. Um, and one being hanging out with my man Busta Rhymes. Every time I've ever seen Busta, there's always love, 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 love. That's my dude. Um, oh yeah, more coming. Uh, MMA Crossfire, what up? MK Ultra, what's going on? Um, Kenneth Smith, what up? Explicit DMC, what up? Beyond the Matrix, a lot of the regulars in the building today on a Friday. Cutie Pie, hey, happy Friday, y'all. Yes. Robert Trowell, what up? Samuel Gervais, I don't think I've seen your name in a minute. Oh, Benny Darrell said, rest in peace, Colwell McQueen, NC State 83. Wow, I didn't see that. One of the guys who won the championship. That was a wild championship game, 1983, when Lorenzo Charles from Brooklyn, tapped in the missed shot, the missed long 30-foot jumper. And the coach at NC State was running around. He didn't even know who to hug. Remember that? That was a wild game. I watched that in real time. Cozell McQueen. A few people have passed this week that I wanted to comment on. Now I can't remember. Um, Samuel Gervais, I think I mentioned you. Um, Any Bone Thugs and Harmony stories? No, I've never seen them. We've never done any shows with them. In my time, I have zero Bone Thug stories. I think Crossroads is one of the greatest records and videos of all time in hip hop. And it's one of them songs where the remix became so big, it's almost the original and changed the whole complexion of not only the song, but of their whole album. That's their biggest record. That was one of the biggest records of 96. But no, never met Bone Thugs. Um, Rid One, what up? KP back to the grill again. Shout out MC Search. The real Chef Daddy, what up? Lindell says, KP, good evening, bro. I'm getting money till midnight. Much respect to you in the chat room. Salute. Yes, get your money, man. Absolutely, Lindell. I'm not mad at that. Riding Dirty Faces, I'll tell brother Ali sup from the KP show. Saw Souls on the 93 to Infinity Tour in 2023. We got to roll. All right, have a safe one out there. 93 to Infinity, that was a big song. You know what's funny? I had that sample in my collection, and I went through that record a bunch of times, that album, and I didn't hear that sample. It's amazing. You can have a sample, it's your people's ear. I didn't hear it the way they heard it and the way they flipped it. Um, that's dope. Big record, man. That record will last for the rest of the. They've been touring off that song since '93, which is dope. I love a classic, man. Brunswick says, KP, Kenny P, I love that Epic Win episode. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to do more. QD, Q the Slave, some Slum Village, Tainted. That was the name of the song. That was a big one. Every so often, a group, they have like a baseline of songs that they put out and a sound, and their careers are going a certain way. Then you'll catch one that just goes big nationally. I love to see that. And that Tainted song was the big one for them. Shout out to Slum Village. We never did a show with them either that I can recall. Leonardo hanging with Busta Rhymes seemed like a crazy night. Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio, but he's a hip hop head. First of all, he's good friends with Q-Tip. So they probably hung many a times, Tribe and all of them. I just, the section I don't want to give away the win, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But seeing how they all knew each other, it seems to make sense. Storm says, "What's up, peace? When are you going to stop by the Temple of Hip Hop again?" Great question. Did you see the my Temple of Hip Hop walkthrough that I put up on this channel? Uh, I guess when Chris comes back from Europe, I'll probably catch up with him and probably go through there. Uh, uh, let's see. Danielle Ladon Freeman, what up? Says, yo, KP, I was very disappointed with the new Spider-Man movie because it had way too much dialogue and it was more of a love story with very little actions. See, I thought it had a lot of action. I loved it. Um, but I understand. But you know what's crazy? This Spider-Man, not only did it have the biggest weekend of all time, money-wise, it had the biggest Monday of all time, the biggest Tuesday of all time, and the biggest Wednesday of all time. It's crazy. This movie will probably clear 2 billion by the end of this weekend. 2 billion. What's the record? Like 2.3 or some shit? I love the movie. Uh, But every to each his own. Um, I wish my only thing is I wish I didn't see the previews. I think they gave away too much action in the previews. I wish they would have held some back, like the Hulk. I wish I never knew the Hulk was in it because that would have been wild to see the Hulk out, and I had no idea. Um, but the love story is part of the reason. The emotion of it is part of the reason why so many people were waiting to see it because it was left on a cliffhanger 5 years ago. I was with all the love story. I'm with all that. Uh, Icon Poet, what up? ATL, stand up. Silk Child said the horn sign. Yeah, it was ill. I wish I could have really expressed to y'all his facial expression. He was almost insulted that we were yelling his Jesus. He was insulted. Like, what? Ah. It was so weird. It's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Um, Ilroy the MC, what up? People says, KP, I got my shirt today and it's a nice thick tee, not cheap. Yeah, thank you. And after a little stretching fits well. Thank you so much for getting the TB ball. For those I didn't mention it in the top. I have it on you can see the little top of the shirt there. It's the same as the logo. The t-shirts are out. For anybody who wants to get a t-shirt, the link is in the description below. Shirts are out, ready to go. Um, Harvey Lee, what's up from Indianapolis? Joey says, Kenny, turn your volume up a little. I have the volume set the same way it's always set. I don't even know if I could turn it up. I just went into the volume. I don't want to mess with this too much. If we get cut off, y'all, that means I did something wrong. Um, I can't see where to turn the volume up. I can't see where to turn the volume up. Uh, sorry about that. I can't. I'm looking at the settings right now, but how do I get back? I can't see where to turn the volume up, but I'll keep that in mind for next time. Uh, there's a way to turn the volume up, but I guess while I'm live, it won't let me do it. CMC in the place to be. What up? Rosmel Rosmel says controversy sells always. Um, and I always say this channel could be so much bigger if I choose to go negative, but I choose not to. I mean, every once in a while we get negative here, but I try to keep this channel at a certain intellectual level as much as possible. Jack Swagger, peace. T Dyson, what up? Patrick Y, Northeast BX, what up? Uh, Spook Realm says, Kenny Parker, your For the Win segment is a great addition to the channel. We get so many RIPs. Yeah, we do. And it's good to hear something uplifting as well. Yeah, we get so many RIPs, man. We haven't had one in a few weeks, which is great. Any crazy comedian stories? I think I've mentioned Dave. We've talked about Dave Chappelle on this channel. Um, I have a Dave Chappelle story, a Chris Rock story. Like I said in the Epic Win, I've known Chris Rock since he was Pookie. Shout out to his brother Kenny Rock too, who I see all the time when I'm in Brooklyn. Feels like every time I'm in Brooklyn, I run into Chris Rock's brother Kenny Rock. Um, I don't know that many comedians. Let me see. Chris Rock, I can't say I know Chris Rock, but we were cool back in the day. Dave Chappelle is cool. Last time I saw him, um, I don't have like crazy comedian stories, but I'm trying to think of comedians who I even know or have met. Not many. Wayans, Sean Wayans is an actor now. When I knew him, he was the DJ for In Living Color. Super cool. I never met his brothers or anything, but Sean Wayans is a super cool dude. Haven't seen him in decades, but we were cool back in the day. I don't know if I would consider him a comedian, but um, yeah, that's it. I saw Martin Lawrence once at a club, Marty Mall. Yeah, that's it. Please ask Bus why he went to Trump's club last month. I have no idea, bro. I don't even know, bro. Any House of Pain stories? The House of Pain is in effect. First of all, House of Pain is affiliated with Cypress Hill. I met Everlast and them one time. I went to house. It was a show in New York. I'm cool. We don't. Cypress Hill and BDP is super cool. I actually hung out with Sen Dog before in New York. Remember, I was in Times Square going to a club. Of course, I was in the '90s, and I bumped into Sen Dog in Times Square, just roaming. And I'm like, "Yo, what you doing?" He's like, "We in New York. We just out here." Like he was just roaming Times Square. Well, Times Square is like a tourist spot, so it's not really roaming. But to be on the Deuce, he was just outside. I'm like, "Yo, I'm going to this club." And he's like, "Yo, let's go." So me and Sendog went to this club. We went in, and they shot him out. Sendog in the building. We chilled for a while. He had a good time. Um, I went to see Cypress Hill a few years later. No pass, nothing. And I was outside trying to get in, and I guess word got inside that I was outside, and Everlast came outside himself with a pass. It was the first time I ever met him, and walked me into the club. It was so gracious of him. This was around the time of I Want to Get High, So High. That's my favorite Cypress Hill record, by the way. Around the time when that album was out. So we're talking 93, 94, and Everlast literally walked me in the club. It was so gracious of him. That's the only time I've ever chilled with House of Pain. Any special ed stories? Yeah, I talked about special ed a couple of weeks ago. I don't want to go back into it, but that's my man's. We talked about him last week. Any Jermaine Dupri stories? Only Jermaine the time I ever saw. I've seen Jermaine Dupri twice. Once coming in a club. For those that new to this channel or those that are regulars, I talk about the clubs all the time because, like I always say, I was addicted to hanging out. So I was everywhere, like American Express. I was everywhere you want to be for like 15 years straight. Um, I was going to the club and Jermaine Dupri was coming in at the same time. I don't know him. He didn't speak to me. I didn't speak to him, but he was right there. And I was like, oh shit, there goes JD. In '08, um, Chris had just won the Lifetime BET Lifetime I Am Hip Hop Award. I think it was like the end of '08. He had got this big trophy, the whole thing. They did a BET did like a whole thing honoring KRS. Hip hop honor, like, and everybody was there. Everybody was in the building. Bigging up Chris. Um, And afterwards, they was like, "Yo, the spot is JD's club," and so it was like it had to be like 15 of us. We was like, "Yo, let's go to JD's club," and we all went to JD's club, and it was packed. But we got outside, and security was not trying to let all of us in. They was like KRS, you could come in with like one person or some shit like that. They was trying to act funny, and it was like, well, it's a bunch of us. After a little, negotiating, finally Chris came in, went right on stage. Chris came in, they took him right on stage. I remember Ashanti was there in the building, and Chris comes in, and they put him right on stage, and the DJ starts throwing on, and JD was on stage too, and the DJ starts throwing on KRS records, and Chris is performing all of a sudden, but he didn't have instrumentals. He only had like the record with the vocals, and Chris will never, ever, 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 ever rhyme over his vocals. So he couldn't really rock. He was just up there just bigging the people up, and the records was playing. He'll do like a couple lines and then stop. And then JD was on stage, so the DJ threw on Jermaine Dupri record. I think it was Welcome to Atlanta or something like that. He threw on JD record. And Jermaine Dupri said, "No, cut that off." He said, "You don't cut off KRS-One for Jermaine Dupri." That's what Jermaine Dupri said. Like, hell no, I'm not rocking. Like, KRS is here. Throw on some shit. And the way he said it to the DJ was so the homage that he gave to KRS was so dope that he said, like, don't, this is his club in Atlanta. He's like, don't you ever cut off KRS-One rhyming for Jermaine Dupri. And it was dope. And that's the only other time I ever saw JD. This was '08. So shout out to Jermaine Dupri. Uh, he's made some really big, big, big albums. I think he's produced two diamond albums. Mariah Carey, the Mimi album, which was, I love that story because they wrote Mariah Carey off. Remember, she signed the Virgin Records for this gigantic amount of money. She was like one of the biggest artists in the world. She signed the Virgin for all this money. And then she did like that movie and album. What was it called? Sprinkle or Sparkle? What was that album? The movie. And it was a flop. And they was like, Mariah Carey is done. So much so that Virgin gave her like 20 million to leave. They like gave her the rest of her money and was like, go. We'd rather give you $20 million than put out more of your music. It's cheaper for us to pay you. And Mariah stepped off and went to Columbia, and Jermaine Dupri took her and made that Mimi album, which sold 6 million copies, and she was back on top. I love stories like that. Yeah, he got that, and Usher got a diamond album too. So Jermaine has produced two diamond albums. That's pretty incredible, y'all. China Doll sent what up? It's my peoples. Humor says the epic win story was great. As soon as I watched it, I sent a link to AB. We talked about you today. All good things across small world. That's my man. I'm pretty sure. I couldn't remember who gave me the pass, but I'm pretty sure it was AB. That's my dude. One of them dudes with a great smile. Always good to see him. It is a small world, bro. It really, really is. We got some chats. Let me jump in. Silk Child. Yeah, respect to the teacher. Yeah, man. But I've seen a lot of people give it up to Chris when he's in the building. But every once in a while, you have people that be like, either I don't like him or I don't see him like that or whatever. Or I sold 80 million records. I don't got to give it up enough. Jermaine Dupri gave it all the way up. Um, Yeah, respect to the teacher. And I was there. I saw it. It's not like when I was right there, like, oh, that's dope. Yeah, respect to the teacher. CMC, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. No hip hop show has talked about the youngsters, crisscross, illegal, quo, caution. What was your take on this era? Um, I'm with the kid rappers. Uh, First of all, the youngsters, the illy Philly funksters, I loved Cruise Pop. And I've been fortunate enough to be cool enough with KG from Naughty by Nature. One of at right at my top of the list of most underrated, underappreciated producers of all time. And I had a chance to tell him, I told him, I said, you know, you've done all of these big records and all of these platinum records, but I just wanted to give you some love on that beat for the youngsters, Cruise Pop. I thought that beat was so dope. He was like, thank you. Like, I said, like, again, I know it's small to you compared to your discography, but it was big for me. So I love the youngsters. Of course, Crisscross, um, Jermaine Dupri, they sold 5 million that album. Jump, jump. You know what's funny about that? JD sampled Love's Gonna Get You on that Crisscross album, and they didn't clear it. So Jive sued Sony for a bunch of money. I think they got like 80 grand. This is like in 1991, so that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money now, but back in 81, it's probably like triple what it is, double or triple, that's like double. So they got like 80 grand, I think it was, if I remember the story correct. But right around that time, Jocelyn Brown had sued BDP for Love's Gonna Get You. The part that goes, Love's Gonna Get You, Love's Gonna Get You, Love's Gonna Get You. That's from the song Love's Gonna Get You, Baby. That never got cleared. So she sued BDP and won and got publishing rights, a lot of rights to that Love's Gonna Get You. She got because they didn't clear the sample. So when Crisscross, when Jive sued Sony for Crisscross and got the 80 G's, Jocelyn Brown came along and took the 80 G's. So I guess the 80 would have went to Jive and Chris, but because Jocelyn Brown was in the mix, she snatched the money. It was something like that I remember, which was so funny to me. Like this 80 G's just went one, two, three, Jocelyn Brown. So the fact that they didn't clear that sample, not only did she get money for Love's Gonna Get You, they had to fix that, but 80 G's just appeared out of nowhere in her pocket for Crisscross. And they didn't even sample her voice. They sampled the song that sampled her voice, which she, you know, y'all get it, and she got money. Illegal Quote and Caution, I didn't really follow them like that, but I like the young kid groups. I throw Bow Wow in there. Yeah, I think a young kid group that would come out right now would kill it. All right. And this is how I be falling behind, y'all, telling y'all these stories. I'll be falling. Let's see how far behind am I. Super. I'm already 20 minutes behind. MMA said the Odyssey was cool. I'm yet to see that. I haven't had a chance to go see that. It was either that or Spider-Man, and of course I had to go Marvel. Philly She said a tad late, but celebrating my baby boy's birthday. What up, y'all? Hey, congratulations, boy. That's dope. That is real dope. Congratulations to your baby boy from the Kenny Parker Show. Latrice Washington, what up? Benny Dog, Kenny Parker, Silence of the Lambs trivia. What was the name of the inmate locked up next to Lecter? He mentioned something to Clarice on her way out. You mean multiple MIGs? Come on, Benny Dog. You got to come harder than that, man. Come on, man. Uh, let's Let's see. Let me scroll down a little bit. Kanye West, Jesus is in the Illuminati. He's in something. Patrick White says, KP, that for the win was classic. How fast did your body temp go up when AB said, I got an extra ticket? Come on, let's go. Yo. And I was outside in 25 degrees for like 2 hours. I was frozen, y'all, when AB said, I got you. I said, you what? April 7th artwork. KP, I finished listening to the audio book. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Kenny, you narrated an audio motion picture. Thank you. You and Rose Daniels did a phenomenal job. I will leave the review on Amazon. Amazing story. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Much appreciated. I worked really hard on the audio book, so thank you so much, April 7th. That made my day. Uh, Jack Swagger said the volume is fine. Patrick White said turn up your ears. That's funny. Um, Lindell says, KP, I like how that shirt fits around the neck crop one next week. Yeah, the quality of this shirt is really, really nice. This is the oversized version. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to get the regular t-shirt version. I got the bigger one, but the neck is really nice. I've already washed this. It held up really nice. What is this on my shirt? As I say that, I see something on my shirt. I don't even know what that is. Um, but yeah, nice quality shirt. Um, what is this on my shirt? Oh, it's just something. Okay. Um, Rid One, you mentioned the Entity. That's another one of those classic movies that was scary as hell. The Entity was dope, man. I wish I had saw that in the movie. Scary, bro. Vincent Ross, thank you so much. Favorite soundtracks? Saturday Night Fever. You mean of all soundtracks or just hip hop? Saturday Night Fever, Purple Rain. Prince is my favorite artist of all time. Of course, Purple Rain is probably number one. There's other soundtracks that had a song here and there that I like. Above the Rim soundtrack was dope. I'd have to think about that. Juice soundtrack had some bangers on it. A couple here and there, but hip hop soundtracks, I don't know if there's one that I really loved, like the whole thing. They had songs here and there. But overall, Saturday Night Fever and Purple Rain to me are the dopest. I like Bodyguard soundtrack too. Yeah, KBC, like the MPC sample is back in stock now. If you're still interested in getting one, I am. Yes, I will definitely get that. Patrick Wise says, KP, don't touch nothing. All I can end up hearing is, I just lost everything, everything. I mean, yeah, I'll mess around and hit something and this whole thing will shut off. Um, I got to jump down a little bit, but Patrick White, KP, who actually looked better, the girl yelling at Buster or Kim K? Um, Bro, for beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What Kim K had on was she was kind of covered up, so you couldn't really see her her whole figure. But the girl up in the rafters had on less clothes, so you could kind of see her, and she was like in the light. The girl in the rafters was crazy, yo. The girl in the rafters, man. No disrespect, but Silk Child. Thank you again, as usual. Disappointing. I'm just finding out Jay-Z stole Never Changed from an unknown cat payroll. He spoke on it and passed away later. I'm a Jay fan, but damn, yo. People have come along and said that Jay will take other people's songs and put it on his album. I don't know if the word stole, I didn't see that. So stole is a tough word. Did he ask for permission? Did he give the guy publishing? Did he pay for the song? Or did he just jack? Because I'm finding out feeling it, one of my favorite songs on Reasonable Doubt, was a song for Camp Low and Ski. And Jay heard it and said, give me that. Um, I heard there's a couple songs here and there that Jay heard that he's like, I gotta have that. But when you're a big artist like that, you have that kind of power. Um, so I'm not gonna say stole because I don't know the whole story. But a guy I know sued Jay-Z, and I think he won for Made in America. Y'all remember that story? A guy, his name, what was his name? Joel? There's a guy, he used to stand outside and sell his tapes going back to the early 90s in New York. He used to be in the Village, standing in front of Fat Beat, standing in front of Washington Square Park, selling his albums, his mixtapes. And me and him became cool. I used to stand outside sometimes in the summertime and with him for like an hour, just talking to him. And I admire people who really make something out of nothing. And this guy is out there all day selling his stuff. He said a lot of tourists would buy his CD because they wanted to get something authentic from New York. And this is an authentic New York rapper standing on the corner. And so he'd be selling his CDs. Long story short, this guy Joel apparently was standing in front of Rockefeller, either Rockefeller or the studio. He's standing in front of a studio that Jay-Z was using, and his album was called Made in America, his mixtape. And allegedly, he gave somebody from Rockefeller his tape as they was going upstairs. And about a few months later, Jay-Z had a tour called Made in America and a whole campaign behind it. And this guy, Joel, sued, and I believe he won. I think he proved that not only did he have Made in America, but that he gave it to somebody going upstairs. I don't have all of the details. I know he sued. I knew the guy too. I knew he sued, and I'm pretty sure he won, but I'm not 100% sure he won. So there is precedence for that. Jay is a great artist, not taking anything away from him. Uh, but I mean, we've heard some things. Jack Swag, KP, we in there. The video has a different mix. Why? There's a story behind that. Also, the video has lots of live concert footage. Where's that footage from? The footage is from a show we did at a place called Tramps. That's a lie. It wasn't Tramps. It was Tramps is smaller than that. Damn, where was this place? The Roxy. The Roxy in New York. That same show, for those of you that saw my video called KRS-One versus the UMCs, a very controversial video, and me and my man from UMCs went back and forth a little bit on that. And to this day, I stand by what I said. Um, that that same show that controversy happened between KRS-One and UMC's, that show, that's footage from that show. And Heather B was the one filming too, by the way. Of one, there's this footage from a couple shows, but there's that most of the footage is from that show. We in there. Why is there a different mix? I talked about this. I don't know if I want to go into it now. I talked about this. I have a video called Notorious B.I.G. I think it was like 3 years ago I did it, maybe 3.5 years ago. I told a story about um, Biggie told me he had the dopest remix out. He did a remix for Mary J. Blige, and he told me it was dope, and I didn't believe him. And I have a whole video. It should be an epic fail. I should change it to epic fail Biggie. And we had a whole conversation. And in this video, I go into detail about why that mix is different. So I'm going to leave that there. Go check out this video I did about Big, and you'll see the answer to that. Cynthia says, I know and have met so many comedians, 40 plus year fan. You can find me at comedy shows support. Yeah, I know, Cynthia. You be at all, you know all of the comedians. Haven't met that many. I saw Chris Rock live. He said he slept with a member of Destiny's Child. Wow. He also locks up your phone at the door so you can't record. Wow. You know, I always wonder why people kiss and tell. Um, I know some dudes brag, a lot of dudes, we all brag. Um, but that to me is like on a lower level. Like when you reach a certain level of superstardom, why do you have to brag about girls you messed with years ago? Especially if they're in a family, they're married, have kids and stuff, they're in a whole different thing. Why would you have to come and say that? Like what does that doesn't make Chris Rock any bigger, does it? Unless it's Beyonce. Maybe it was her. Um, I don't know. I just see artists come out and say things about women. I just be like, damn, dude, you ain't have to do it like that. But that's just me. Um, I'm gonna do a Benny Doyle scroll down because I'm too far behind. I'm falling. I'm falling behind. Um, I see some good comments here, but I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna jump. Wasn't Janet Jackson with Jermaine Dupri? Yeah, they were dating. JD had the same sample of Welcome to Atlanta as Why Is That? Yep. Few people use that beat. KRS is the first to crack it open. Um, all right, I'm gonna jump down. I'm too far behind. Joey Joseph's Glitter was a decent movie. That's the name of it, Glitter. I didn't see Glitter. Um, but that movie, people were saying she was finished. Hey, Tracy. KP, did you hang out at the Club Mars packing the days? In the meat packing section, I guess you mean. Of course, I did. D Nizzy, I was everywhere, bro. I used to hang out in Mars in '89. And my man who I went to high school with, his name is Alex, was security at the door. I hadn't seen him in years and bumped into him there. I went to Mars. First of all, they had a DJ named DJ Duke from Denmark. Was dope. And they had like different floors with different music, but I used to chill on the hip hop floor. And that's why I was in there. Me, D Nice, Miss Melody was in there. And D Nice introduced me to De La Soul, Dave and Maceo was there, and Moni Love, and Q-Tip. I met all of them at the same time in Club Mars in '89. This is before Tribe came out. This is when Q-Tip was Black is Black. That's when that was his claim to fame, rhyming on De La's album. I met all of them there. D Nice introduced me to them. So yeah, I used to be in Mars. That club was dope. That place went through a lot of different name changes too. We performed there. BDP performed there too. And Jay-Z was the opening act before he came out. All right, I'm gonna jump down, y'all. I see some good comments, but I just have to jump down because if I don't, KP, Silence of the Lambs is your favorite movies. Not one of your favorite movies. It's my favorite movie. Did you ever watch Manhunter, which is what the movie is based on with the Hannibal character? No. I thought Manhunter was on Netflix with the two FBI profilers. I didn't know it was about Hannibal Lecter. No. All right, I'm gonna jump down. KP, How to Be a Player soundtrack was dope. I don't remember it that much. T Dice, the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack was fire. Yes, it was. That had a lot of big records on there. Yes. Shoop. Shout out to Babyface. I'm not that far behind, so I'm gonna jump in right here. Um, Philly, she said soundtracks, Purple Rain, Shaft. Shaft was great. Oh, you going all the way? Yeah, Shaft was great. Boomerang. I like the Boomerang soundtrack. Matter of fact, there's two songs on there I love. First of all, Tribe. Y'all know about me and Tribe. Hot Sex on a Platter was banging. And PM Dawn had a slow jam, Die Without You, that I really, really like. I think that record went to the top 10 Billboard pop chart. I think that's his like second biggest record. Shout out to PM Dawn, rest in peace. I really like that song. You said Truck Turner, the Mac, Tough Guys. There's a lot of samples on there, but I don't remember them being big hits. But there's a lot of samples, especially Tough Guys. That Shaft soundtrack was banging. Uh, let's see. 49 Nell, yo, Kenny, what's up? Do you have any new album or new projects coming out you're producing? I'm working on music right now, so I'm gonna say stay tuned. Um, let's see. Somebody just randomly said the Bush Babies. I said before that the guy, the light skinned one that's from Flatbush, I used to see him outside all the time. KP, ever booked a show and got to the venue and it was totally different crowd than expected? Well, I never booked anything. So you mean did BDP ever get booked? We did a show for Amnesty. We did a show for Amnesty International back in '91, and it was all heavy metal. I think a group called Sick of It All, Sick of It All, was on there. Some other groups. It was straight. This is the first time I ever saw slam dancing in my life. I didn't even know what that was till I saw this, and we were going last. I was like, "There's no way they're gonna listen to hip hop. This is so wild in here." It was just straight mosh pit. And when BDP came on, they just morphed. It when all that mosh pit shit just went. into this. They knew all the songs. That was dope. Most of the shows we did, I kind of expected the crowd. We did CBGB's, um, one of the most legendary nightclubs in the history of New York, in the history of nightclubs. We did CBGB's in the 90s. They didn't hardly know anything. They was straight rock. We were just in there as just another group. But we killed it just on some energy wise, but they didn't know hardly nothing. I don't even know how we even got in there. Uh, Let me jump down a little bit. Yeah, Benny, your live footage of Jack Swagger's talking about, is that the same concert the crowd went crazy when he said 5 p.m. during the acid? Yeah. Um, the lyrics to Feel the Vibe, Feel the Beat. I don't even think we had recorded that. We maybe either we had just recorded that song or was about to record that song. But the lyrics, no one had heard Chris do them lyrics. And that show was the first time we had done a show since the PM Dawn incident. And a lot of people was like, oh, KRS One is done. Nobody's gonna come to the show. And that shit was rammed. And I remember it was UMC's, Das Effects, Fushnikins, BDP, I believe. And I remember Q-Tip and Fife was there. They was right there in the crowd. Rest in peace, Fife Dog. They was there. And I remember Chris said that line, ending in a crash with a boom. He said something boom bash, ending in a crash. 5 p.m. dawn and axe they ass. And the crowd went berserk. Yeah, that's the show. You are correct, Benny Doyle. And Heather was up in the thing filming with the camcorder, up in the rafters. Um, let's see. Not that far behind. Hype style, rest in peace, Irv Gotti, but the confession about Ashanti was off the chain unnecessary. I agree. I mean, you know what? Let me not, who am I to say what someone else should be talking about in their love life? I just thought, why would you come out with that at this point? The way he was saying it too, it was just so, she's with dude now. She's moved on. Like, yeah, I thought that was whack. I thought um when Wyclef, when he dropped his book and he came out with the whole relationship with um Lauren, he not only did he confirm it, but he was on like Wendy Williams, I think, and he was saying some real graphic stuff. And I was just like, why? I know you're selling a book and that's juicy to sell a book, but I never understood that. The Game came out talking about Kim Kardashian. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe there's some, maybe like, that gives people cred or whatever, but I just don't see why 10, 15 years later you have to come with this in a big forum like that. Just out somebody like that. I don't know. Patrick White says, I never lied on my deals, Nick, or brag about who I slept with. See, that's where I'm at. That's between me and my partner, but most of the time it's the female that spills the beans. That's funny. Jason said, after Chris Rock said that, he said, that's why I locked up your phones so, so that nobody could put it up. But it's still going to get around. Why would you do that? You're still talking to thousands of people. That's wild, Jason Wall. You saw that with your own two eyes. That's wild. No disrespect. I'm not trying to start nothing with nobody. No disrespect. I just don't understand what the purpose is, what the conversation was that would lead you to say that. I don't know. KP, did you hear about the latest Quai Think of another fake sponsor? I saw some headline, but I didn't get a chance to check it out. If there's another scandal with Quai, he might have to get suspended, sadly. I haven't seen enough about it to comment on it, but dudes trying to pay dudes under the table, you know you're gonna get caught. What is wrong with people? Tracy says, hit the like, fam. Thank you, Tracy, for reminding everyone. Please hit the like button. It helps. Everything helps. Yep, JD was dating Janet and Fool still slept with other women. He really didn't appreciate Janet. When you get to that level of stardom, there are literally so many women out there that don't care either. Like, he's with Janet. And like I said, spoiler alert for those that didn't see my For the Win. Like I said in my video, there are women in the crowd that are of the same level of beauty as stars are. And not only are they at the same level or sometimes above as a star, but they're standing there screaming for your attention, dying to get to know you. And that level of temptation, a lot of dudes fold. I mean, we're looking at Janet Jackson one way, but who knows? All of these women who are considered the top of the line as far as beauty all have problems with dudes. I don't know if it's the dudes they pick. Beyonce made a whole album about Jay-Z, Lemonade, right? The whole album was about Becky with the good hair, and Jay-Z admitted to it. He's with Beyonce. That's what allegedly that fight was in the elevator. I don't know. Look at Halle Berry's track record. What was that singer dude? I forgot her husband, the one with that always wore the sandals, no barefoot dude. Eric Benet. Buck Wildin', yo. He was married to Halle Berry. He outside. I mean, the list just goes on and on. You name a top woman celebrity, and there's dudes out here wilding. And I'm saying a lot of it comes down to just the enormous amount of temptation. First of all, is immaturity, but also the enormous amount of temptation that is out there with beautiful women that are making it so easy. Um, I've seen with my own two eyes the amount of wilding that goes on. Forget the celebrity, if you're even in the vicinity of a celebrity, dancer, security, management, entourage, the dude that carried the water, anybody, if you are down with a celebrity crew, a celebrity or in his entourage, it's wild, man. Like, I don't even know if I'm explaining at an arena just the amount of women. Like, imagine before social media, right? A lot of these influencers, there you go on Instagram and stuff, and there's these women that are model level looks with hundreds of thousands, some of them million followers. That's how good they look. There's a million people that just want to see them change clothes every day. Before social media, these would be regular girls living in their town. They probably would be the hot chick in their area. That's it. And they would just be out there. And you would come to that town, and there they would be looking like, you know, a 10. And they would be in the crowd screaming for you. And it's just wild. Look how many of these girls, these influencers, have big stars in their DMs. They talk about this basketball player, this rapper, this actor, this Arabian prince flew them out. They're getting flown out to this place and flown out to that place. These are really, they're regular girls. They just happen to look like models, but they are not rich. They're not famous. They have no talent. They're just a regular girl. At that level of temptation, I was just talking to somebody a few months ago who had a record out back in the day, pretty hot record, but he wasn't an A-lister, but he was, had a hot song in the 90s. And he volunteered to start talking about the celebrity women that he had relations with. You'd be shocked that who this dude was messing with. I'm like, and I know he was telling the truth. You're like, wow. So I say all that to say, Joey Joe, yeah, JD was cheating on Janet. That sounds unbelievable to us, but to these dudes, Janet's probably just another chick he met. Like, we dating, but yo. Speaking of that, real quick, let me say this too. I just saw, y'all know that Luca is my favorite player, and I saw that his ex-fiance had dropped the lawsuit a couple days ago, and I was so happy. I was like, yo, he's out there in Slovenia. His fiance dropped that lawsuit. Looked like they're working it out. No, she came with a new lawsuit yesterday. She's suing Luca for $50 million. Keep in mind, they're not married, never been married, but she has his kids. She wants 50 million, 40 million for her, and 10 for the kids. And she wants to reduce Luca's visitation from twice a week to once a week. That is pure evil. And I'm trying to think to myself, and women will be like, I don't know if he cheated. I don't know what their situation is. No one has come out and said he cheated. But the hatred, that's great, Rosmellis. You remember that. Maybe it was Evil D, but I saw Buckshot. I always tell this story. I was on my way to a club and I was hanging with DJ Premier. And we were going to Mars, but it was later. This was 92, so it was called something else by this point. But Premier was dropping me off at this club, and I'm riding with Premier in his MPV, and he played me his new song, and he says, "I got a new song that we just finished. I want you to listen to me. Tell me what you think." And he puts Dwick on in the car, and it came out. This is before it came out. I'm like, I said, Preem, this is ridiculous. And he was like, thanks. And then we just started listening to records as we were driving down. And he put on Who Got the Props? Who Got the Props? It was kind of new. And we're riding down the street. We rolled past the club and we're blasting Who Got the Props. And I got out at the corner. Preem dropped me off. I come to the club and I see my man that I seen a couple times in the club in front of the club. So I'm like, yo, what's up? And he's like, yo, what's up? I seen you in Premiere drive past playing my song. I'm like, what do you mean playing your song? You're a rapper? He was like, yeah. And I'm like, well, what song is that? He's like, Who Got the Props? I'm Buckshot. Like, what? First of all, that record was banging. And we was vibing to it. But I'm like, you're the rapper on that song? I had known Buckshot as a dude in the club. I didn't even know he was a rapper. Me and Pre were rocking to his shit. And Buckshot always tells that story. It's hilarious. But I met Buckshot at that place. Now, I don't know if it was Evil D2. It could have been. Um, have you gone to Paradise Garage? No, that was a little bit before my time when it was bumping Larry Levan. No, but I would have loved to. I'm behind, I'm behind, I'm behind. Um, Bebo Johnson, I thought it was Jungle Brothers album Q-Tip first rhymed on. It was. He rhymed on Black is Black, and he rhymed on Promo, which he produced, I found out later on. I loved the Promo, and I loved, they remixed the Promo and made In Time, My Brother In Time. Remember that? I loved Q-Tip's voice. I thought he was the illest. But I heard that after De La Soul. I was a little behind. But at that time, Q-Tip's claim to fame wasn't even the Jungle Brothers. It was, I point at Q-Tip and he says, Black is Black. Mirror, mirror on the wall. That's what everybody knew him from, that video. Now, he was on the Jungle Brothers album, but I would argue that he was bigger in Me, Myself, and I for going Black is Black than he was on the Jungle Brothers album. Um, and then Buddy came out on De La's album. That's when Tribe started to get bigger. But yeah, he first appeared on Jungle Brothers album. And just as KP Black is Black was Jungle Brothers. Yeah, but I'm saying that he said it in because when he said it in Me, Myself, and I hadn't heard Black is Black yet. So Q-Tip says Black is Black. I didn't even know what they was talking about. I just knew that I love this guy's voice, man. Um, yeah, Jungle Brother album. Q-Tip produced Black is Black and the promo. Ever been to Soul Kitchen, KP? Come on, man. Why y'all be insulting me, bro? First of all, my video that I put up, Epic Fails Hollywood. Not that many people saw that, but I talk about meeting Bud Bundy for the first time. David Faustino was at Soul Kitchen. I used to go to Soul Kitchen all the time. The DJ used to play all of these breaks, and he had to have security in front of him because all of the producers were trying to get a peek at what records he was playing, and he would keep everybody back. And he had security. I can't remember the dude's name, but he had an ill collection. Yeah, I was in Soul Kitchen all the time. I saw Wesley Snipes in Soul Kitchen. Y'all don't believe I was everywhere, y'all. I don't think y'all really understand what I'm saying. I don't think y'all understand. All right, I'm doing another scroll down, y'all, because I'm running my mouth and Tyson, Irv Gotti seemed like a dirtbag. After getting all the money, he bragged about not giving Ashanti any money and only giving Ja Rule $1 million. I didn't see all that, but I've seen Irv say some questions. I've known Irv Gotti since he was DJ Irv. He wasn't even Irv Gotti. When I met him, he was the DJ for Mike Geronimo and producer, and his name was DJ Irv. And he was super cool. And I didn't see him again for years later to like 2014. So when I first met him, it was 93. And then I didn't see him again until 2014. Um, I was DJing at a spot. I was about to get on, and he was there. And we stopped and spoke for a minute. But he said some wild stuff, Irv Gotti. You know, he said, I'm not even going to repeat the things he said. He just said some stuff that I just didn't understand why he would say that. And Dell says, KP, I'm still buying vinyl. When I come to NYC, are they still stores selling vinyl? Hell yeah. Most of them are in Brooklyn, but I always big up A1 Records is the godfather, the king of record stores in New York. A1 Records, and it's called A1 because it's on First Avenue and Avenue A. It's actually, what street? It's on 6th. It's on 6th between First and Avenue A. That's what it is. On 6th between First and Avenue A. It's called On Records. I was just in there a couple of weeks ago. Um, they got everything. But there's some really good stores in Brooklyn too. Kenny, did you ever see Invasion of the Body Snatchers? I saw the original one from the 60s, I believe, or the 50s. When I was a kid, I used to watch all of that stuff. That's a scary movie too. With them pods, that was scary. I don't know if you're talking about the newer one, but I know older ones. Um, any Stevie J stories? Never met Stevie J. I'm jumping down. JD was feeling himself and actually said other women were throwing themselves at him because he was with Janet and he was too weak to ignore them. I could hear that. I could hear that. If Janet likes him, there must be something to it. I could hear that. But could you imagine the amount of it's just I'm telling you guys, I'm not even telling y'all everything that I've seen. I've seen some wild stuff, y'all. Women don't care if you're married. You can be in a famous relationship. They just don't care. I'm not blaming the women. I'm just saying that they're right there. They don't care. Like it takes two to tango. The dudes don't care, but the girls don't care neither. CMC says it's hard to be married in cities like Atlanta. Yeah, isn't there like an 8-to-1 or 9-to-1 ratio between men and women? Yeah, I'm hearing Atlanta is tough. Look at Mary and Ken Do. First of all, Ken Do is my homie dating back to the Flavor Unit days, so I don't want to disparage him on here. Last time I saw Ken Do was all love, so I'm gonna leave that right there, Rosmel. Only because Ken Do is my man, I'm gonna refrain from comment. Wow, this is wild, Philly Sheet. I'm gonna read this anyway. Hallie strikes me as a chick with whack box. Like if she is that pretty with good coo, she must be super evil or annoying. I don't know, man. I know it's this. David Justice, people like that. They were dating before they got married. So whatever box she got, dudes put a ring on it. So I don't know if it's the box. It could be, I don't know. But Eric Benet married her. David Justice married her. the guy that she had a baby with, they just got a divorce. He married her. She was dating Wesley Snipes, Lorenz Tate. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she's evil. We got a chat. Storyteller, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Are you new to the channel? I don't recognize your name. Y'all ever do a show back in the day with Rodney O and Joe Cooley? Some reason I feel like we did. Didn't they have a record dissing KRS-One or something? Thought they had a record dissing Chris, if I recall. Maybe not, but I thought they did. For some reason I feel like I met them, but I don't remember them for sure like that. Um, but I thought they had a record dissing. Another group with a record dissing for no reason. We have nothing to do with that. Dudes just coming out the woodwork dissing. Icon poet. In Atlanta, all you need to be is heterosexual, employed, and conscious, and you can pull women. Yeah, with an 8-to-1 ratio, pickings are slim, man. Is KRS dropping a new album soon? Not sure. I know he dropped a single. Not sure. I got to catch up. When he gets back, I got to get all the latest info. Rodney O and Joe Cooley had an album called F New York. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. And Delta KP, Hallie ain't got that Badu. Yo, Badu, I'm not even gonna go there. I don't know Erica Badu at all, so let me leave that alone. But apparently, I don't know what she got going on, but it's lethal, I guess. David Justice said Halle Berry wasn't what he thought she was, but he married her. They was dating for a while, unless she flipped up on him. But I also saw him say he wanted her. She didn't cook and clean the way he needed her to. Like she wasn't a housewife. She's freaking Halle Berry, yo. I don't know. If you was looking for a housewife, why'd you marry Halle Berry? At the peak of Halle Berry, too. Sydney Rose says DC got a crazy woman to man ratio. Word, DC? I never heard that. Rosamel says, Kenny, you don't want to break the bro code. I know. That's why I'm trying to have a conversation and not violate. Uh, T. Dyson, Hallie is ran through. Go type into Google Gilbert Arenas Harry Belly story. Gilbert be wilding. Or Leonardo DiCaprio Halle Berry story. I might do that just out of being nosy. Ilroy, Kenny, I got my shirt today, but it's mad small. All good. I gave it to my wife. How do I get oversized, John? A word? It's the size is small? Oh, damn. The oversized one fits me exactly. The oversized one is in the same link. I have a link of the regular size and the oversized. The oversized is cut bigger. I'm pretty sure they linked the size chart so everybody could check it out. But if it's cut small, I gotta mention it. Well, I'm mentioning it now, but I'm mentioning it more. I guess it's run small. I don't have the regular size shirt. I only got the I'm a big dude, so I got the oversized, which fits perfectly. Oh shit! I just had a glitch right there. Are we still on the air? I think we are. Um, yeah, the link is in the description below. Damn, my thing just did a jump because I hit the wrong thing. Tybo says they had an F New York in response to Tim Dog. They dissed Tresh and others. To me, those are just publicity stunts. That Badu is intriguing. That ish is probably incredible on God is here. Apparently, man. Oh man. Erica Badu is my pound for pound favorite singer too. CMC says, yeah, DC is insane. China Dog, Halle Berry is deaf in 1 year. Allegedly Wesley Snipes hit her. Yeah, but I think I saw something. Wesley was on Howard Stern and he said it wasn't him. I think she was dating Christopher Williams before that. And I think allegedly Wesley was kind of like it was Christopher Williams. I'm not sure. It's a lot of names, man. But yeah, allegedly she got slapped. That's terrible though. Whatever she did, I don't know. You slap her in her ear and bust her eardrum. You wildin'. That's terrible. Yeah, I did hear that. Icon Paul says, I think most people get married because they feel they're supposed to get married. I haven't met too many married couples who like being married. That's ill. Bebo says, yes, we see you. Thank you. I jumped all the way down to the bottom too, by the way. Um, yeah, it was like a little, I hit something and but you guys are saying you can still hear me, so great. Um, Erica Badu is mad funny too. I find her hilarious. She has a quirky sense of humor in her music and in her interviews and her videos. And sometimes you can't tell if she's joking or telling the truth. Um, which is ill. Dartmouth says Casual from the hieroglyphics says he watches your stream. That's dope. What up, Casual? I did a whole story about them. KRS versus hieroglyphics. I have nothing but love for the hieroglyphics. If Casual's watching, what up, man? He had a record I used to play all the time on my mixtapes. I heard Questlove say that Erica Badu is irresistible. KP, remember the movie The Fog? I have never seen The Fog. I tell you a movie I used to like now that you mentioned as a kid, The Blob. And there's two blobs. There's the original one from the 50s, I think, and there's a second one. Both of them were dope. I love the blob. I think they should do a blob right now. And I'm not with a lot of remakes. I think a lot of these remakes are stupid, but the blob has been going, it's been enough time. I think a blob right now with today's graphics and most of the young people have no idea what it is. I think a blob would kill it right now. Um, oh, Lifestyle says. When Nino stabbed Christopher Williams in New Jack City, that was probably real emotions behind that. That's a good one, hype style. Yeah, man. Oh man. Oh man. That's funny. Oh, let's see. Any epic wins or fails in Germany? We did a lot of shows in Germany over the years. I don't remember anything being like win or fail in Germany. They always had dope shows though. We were just in Germany. Did we do Germany? We did like 5 countries just a couple months ago when I was in Europe with Chris. Germany is cool. I don't remember anything happening good or bad. And Dale says, KP, my parents are 86 and 87. That's dope. And are still in love. That is super dope. Shout out to your parents, man. But get on each other's nerves from time to time. I'm pretty sure. Um, and they probably know what buttons to push and everything, but I still think that's dope. All of that is dope to me. Yo, this conversation is taking a wrong turn. Salute KP. Erica was selling her coochies as perfume. I remember that as an incense. Yo, we have really made a left turn on the Kelly Parker show. We are out in the woods right now. We got to chat. Let me see if we can bring this back. Bring this back around. Oh man, Silk Child. Everybody had a hella on a pedestal. She was bad, but I was feeling Prime Layla Rashawn over her. Prime Layla was dope. Sunshine. But Halle Berry was on. Halle Berry is probably all time number one on most people's lists. Halle Berry, beauty wise, was at peak in Strictly Business and Boomerang. You know what the thing about that is? Halle Berry, to me, probably looks the best dressed down when they're not trying to glam her up, makes her look more glamorous. Like in Boomerang, they was trying to, I guess, keep her at a level and glam her up Robin Givens. But yeah, I could hear that. KP, did you ever go to the first 112 in Atlanta? I don't think so. I'm at the very bottom. Sunshine versus Erica Badu. First of all, that whole Sunshine uh, sequence in the movie Harlem Nights was absolutely hysterical. Every part of that was hilarious to me. A Boogie says Hallie still looks great. Yeah, she's 60. KP Sally Richardson was sexy as F too. Yeah, I was Sally Richardson. The Thing would be a dope remake. Yeah, I just think that the first one was so dope. I just can't see anything topping it. And they'll ruin it. They'll put some stupid actors in it, and it'll be stupid. I love the first one so much that I just don't want to mess with it. The Blob to me seems like something that could go viral and be like a big movie to me. Any Wesley Snipes stories? Go back and check out my Epic Fails Hollywood. I wish everybody on here saw all of my epic fails because I have a lot of stories. There's a lot of them that people haven't seen. Um, that answers a lot of questions. The Fog was John Carpenter's movie. They won't remake The Blob because the 1989 movie flopped. Oh, it flopped? I thought it was pretty good. Um, I could understand that. But I think it would work. If I was a studio, considering all of the ridiculous movies that these studios greenlight, if I was a studio head, I would greenlight The Blob. By the way, we are in overtime, y'all. This is the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please hit the like button. And big up to the Rewind crew who's going to check this out later on. And if you get the shirts, go up a size, apparently. Um, yes. So I'm actually at the bottom. So it's not too bad. After that glitch that we had, I'm kind of at the bottom. Fluke Realm says, Kenny Parker, have you ever been disappointed going to see a live show? 90% of the time. Because the artist was too far removed from their studio album. Mine was Albie Shore. He didn't hit one high note on point. Many, too many to even mention. But I tell you this, I'd rather hear an artist sing live and not hit the notes than see them lip sync. I think lip syncing in a live show is disgusting. But yeah, but Albie Shore, you would imagine that Albie Shore wasn't a. No, let me not disrespect. I wouldn't have a lot of faith in Albie Shore based on how he sounds on the record. But I've been extremely disappointed in my time. Most of the time. You doing working any clubs in near Houston? No, but I would love to. What do you think of DJ Jazzy Jeff? I think he's among the best to ever do it. He's the DJ's DJ. His technical skills are immaculate. Plus he has creativity. Plus he's a dope producer. Plus he's been around for 40 years. Immaculate. Right at the very top of the greatest to ever do it. Let me jump down. KP, did you ever see the movie The Last Dragon? I saw that in the movie theater. Uh, Sunshine from Harlem Nights is Layla Rashawn. Yeah. You know what's funny? I was took me years. I never knew that Layla Rashawn, aka Sunshine, is dancing in All Night Long video. And I believe at that time her husband was a break dancer. And he's in the video. I don't know which one was her husband, but he's in that video. But she's all over All Night Long. They remade the Blob and it was whack. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was whack. The first one was ridiculous. Uh, I could be wrong. Buffalo Gal ordered a couple of shirts. They are dope. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for ordering the shirts. KP, any in Vogue stories? I have a video on this channel where I talk about it's called the funniest Fife dog story ever. Go back and check that out. These are all like 3 years old on this channel. It's called the funniest Fife dog story ever. Tracy said, Kenny, I've been binge watching the epic fails. I love how you tell a story. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy, you're the best on this channel. Thank you, Tracy. Scrolling down. uh, Beefing with BDP was insane back in the day. You'd be surprised, Bobby W. I always say on this channel, I can count 20 since I was in the group. From 1990 to early 2000s, I was a DJ. You took like 12 years. I could count 20 beefs. 20. And I'm saying objectively that KRS probably started two. And even the PM Dawn, I'm considering saying KRS started that, but PM Dawn really started that. Prince B really started that. So, as a matter of fact, I might even subtract that. And Poor Righteous Teachers, I think KRS started that. I've never went into detail about that, and I'm not going to, but that was a serious one. And I would say that overall, I would say KRS started that one. Everything else was people just stepping up, trying to be whatever, and they all got dealt with. All 20 of them. I'm just talking shit, y'all. But really, all 20 of these beefs were different levels, different degrees, from very serious to just subliminals. But every last one of them got addressed. We wasn't ducking no smoke back in the day. Still not. Hey, KP, you ever watched the TV show Tales from the Dark Side? No, I didn't. That's one of the few shows I didn't get a chance to watch. We're in overtime, y'all. Jeff is incredible. I say the best ever without bias. There's an argument for him being the best to ever do it. First of all, I have different DJs for different things. So I don't have one best that covers everything, but there's different DJs for different things. But overall, you can make that argument. I have nothing to say. So Layla was in Break In too, yeah, because of her husband. Amel LaRue was the one I really liked. I got a chance to meet Amel LaRue. Where was I? Sony Studios. And she was there working. She was there with her child. There was, I believe, a baby at this time, or like a young toddler. And the guy I was with knew her, and he said hello. We introduced, shook hands. She was very nice, kept it moving. And I reached out to her once on Twitter because she has a song called "Keep Trying" that is one of my favorite songs of all time. Very inspirational. And one day I was listening to that song on repeat. This is years ago. Listening to that song on repeat, and it was just the words were just hitting me. And I reached out to her on Twitter and I just said, your song, Keep Trying, is like just amazing. And I've been listening to it. And she actually hit me back and said, Merci. Well, I guess thank you in French. And I was very happy that she responded. So shout out to Amel LaRue. Lindell said, KP, Shabba-Doo from Breaking was married to Layla. That's who it was, Shabba-Doo. He was big back in the day. Um, we're in overtime, y'all. Robert Trollo says, I actually saw Bruce Leroy and LL chilling on stage in Union Square. That's crazy. Anybody who was in Union Square is crazy. Abu, I'm not even gonna try to butcher your name right now, but says, how come no one ever mentions KRS when they use the line 100 guns, 100 clips attributed to Ja Rule? Because most people probably don't know where that came from. That song got so much play during this Knicks run as a New York anthem. The publishing just in the past month, that month is probably crazy. Um, that's a song from the Edutainment album, an obscure album cut. I got 100 guns. Chris said, I got 100 guns, 200 clips. Is that how it goes? I got 100 guns, 200 clips headed to New York, New York. And the song is about a gun runner, has a Jamaican beat. I may or may not have been in the studio when he made that song. I can't remember, but that's from the Edutainment album. And the story goes Cool and Dre, the producers that's down with Fat Joe, found that chorus and revamped it a little bit and gave it to Ja Rule and became a big record and caused beef with 50 because everybody on that song 50 had beef with because he felt like because he was trying to stop Ja Rule that nobody should help Ja Rule. And because Fat Joe and Jadakiss jumped on that song, that led to beef with 50. So that was a bit much. Glad he didn't blame KRS. Hype Styles is shout out to DJ Screw who passed away. Yeah. Benny Dore, Kenny, Steve Thompson from Syracuse or Stacey Augmon, UNLV? Stacey Augmon was the better basketball player. They had similar left-handed, both similar. Stacey Augmon was clearly the better player, but my favorite was Stevie Thompson. I loved that team. Um, Stevie Thompson, uh, Sherman Douglas, Ronnie Cycli, Derek Coleman. Stevie Thompson was only like 6'4". He was undersized, but he used to catch mad alley-oops. Um, Shout out to Stevie Thompson. Did he just pass away? Don't get me to lying, but I thought I saw that. The Messenger, was you at Fresh Fest? Nah, that was before my time. Abdul says, nah, PM Dawn started. I believe he was an agent that was trying to replace self-knowledge with his hippie garbage. No, he definitely started that. Philly She said, a teacher of what comment started that by Prince B? Yup. Yup. T Dice and Kenny, can you talk about the Ice Cube KRS One beef? Chris wrote a song that kind of deaded that thing quickly. I love Ice Cube. I try not to regurgitate that because they squashed it out, but I think I've mentioned it on this channel. The beef, that wasn't really beef, but it was disagreement. It was we can call it beef, but it wasn't a beef. It wasn't like when I see you it's on type thing or let's battle. It was just like a little war of words because Ice Cube said on his America's Most Wanted album, some rappers are heaven sent, but self-destruction don't pay the fucking rent. Of course, you know self-destruction was KRS One's child. That is a BDP song featuring other rappers. And that record was a huge hit and and generated a lot of money. And Chris was very proud of that record. So for somebody to come along from the West Coast shitting on a record, Chris did not take that kindly. Um, and he said some things, and it got back to Cube, and Cube came back and said it was a misunderstanding. However, Chris meant it was not how he meant what Ice Cube said in the record was not meant to diss self-destruction, is what Ice Cube said. And then at some point later on, they met and had a conversation. I was not there. And they all squashed it out. So it's all good. I've never met Ice Cube. I've been in his presence, but I've never met him. Um, I always thought it was a diss. I still think it's a diss, but they squashed it out, and that's a little above my pay grade. So I let them. They said it's all good. It's all good, but I thought it was a diss to this day. We're in overtime, y'all. I'm going a little bit longer, then we're going to jump off. KP, any Yo-Yo stories? I actually met Yo-Yo. I knew somebody who knew her, and she was working on an album. They put her on a phone, like handed me the phone, said, "This is Yo-Yo. You should do some beats for her." And I was like, that would be dope. This is years after she came out. And she was like, she got on the phone, was like, yeah, I'm looking for some music. But then she was like, I'm looking for some stuff, with a little more of a West Coast swing, not so much like that East Coast style, but more of a West Coast swing. And I remember thinking to myself, well you kind of got the wrong person because my swing is East Coast. So I remember, I didn't really pursue it after that, but I was on the phone with her for a second, but that probably wouldn't have worked out. I'm still wondering what happened with Cool Rock Steady out of Chicago. We came to Chicago and Chris called him out on stage. He wasn't there. I remember that. When he was wilding on Wax against BDP, he had a record on WGCI that had a lot of shade throwing on. I remember that. We came to Chicago and Chris called him out. He wasn't there, but we was ready to battle. Don't even know these people, bro. Cool Rock Steady, don't know these people from Adam. We had no beef with them. We have nothing but love for Chicago. People would be just coming out the woodwork, just saying shit for no reason, bro. Keep Trying was a Groove Theory song. Yeah, you're correct. That she wrote. And yes, that was a great one. Yes, Bebo Jones. And it was a Groove Theory song. I love that record, man. Love that record so much. I'm scrolling down. KP, did you ever see the movie Tales from the Hood? We talked about that last week. Yes. 100 Guns is a reggae song, pretty much. Um, Scrolling down a little bit, little bit. Gregory Ness says 50 like beef like it's well done. Yeah, he lives for it. He lives for it. Original CMC. KP, remember when 50 challenged Kanye on who would sell more their first week? Get Rich versus Graduation. I remember that. And I remember 50 sold 600,000 that first week, which 95% of the time in the history of music would have you number one by far. However, Kanye sold 900,000. I remember that. And 50 said he would retire if Kanye sold more than him. Yeah. I'll give y'all something real quick. There was a little conflict between KRS and Kanye over that. Oh, here we go. When that like a week before these albums dropped, someone asked Chris about this. Who do you got, 50 Cent or Kanye? And KRS, never one to not have an opinion, said, I got 50. Now keep in mind, 50 is KRS man. They are cool, very cool. KRS didn't know Kanye at all at this point, but him and 50 were very cool. And at the time, the first two singles was 50 had I Get Money, Money I got. I run New York. He had that song, and Kanye had Stronger, Stronger, which was like a dance record. So knowing KRS, if you played him Stronger, and probably me too, if you played Stronger and I Get Money, I would be going with I Get Money as well. But at that time, before the albums came out, those are the two songs. A reporter asked Chris, which one, who are you going with? And he said 50. And they blew that whole thing out like KRS One, diss Kanye West. And it was a whole thing. I remember that. And then we went to this same BET award show that I told you that Chris won the I Am Hip Hop Award, and everybody was there, and Kanye was there, and I was sitting right next to Chris. We was in front row. It was me, Chris, Kid Capri, and I think Rich Nice was with us. Shout out to Rich Nice. And Kanye comes right up. He comes all the way from where he was at and comes right to Chris. And KRS stands up and they started talking. So now I'm trying to see what's going on. And basically, I believe that Kanye was coming over to basically say there's no problems or anything like that. Like, this is blown out of proportion. It's all good. And Chris was saying basically what I said, like, 50's my man, but I love your music, but 50's my man, no disrespect. So they both came over to kind of piece it out. No, they didn't both come over. Kanye came to where Chris was, and then they both was talking, and it was no friction. They both kind of was like, don't believe the hype. But I was right there being nosy. And I remember I kind of was leaning towards 50, but then I heard the Kanye album. When I heard Flashing Lights, I was like, oh. And there was another one on there, the one with T-Pain. Oh, shoot. The Michael Jackson sample. I can't, oh my, it's killing me. The T-Pain record with Michael Jackson, it was the second single. When them two records came out, I was like, ooh, fifth. But yeah, that was a little friction in '08. I'm giving you guys an exclusive, exclusive, exclusive. I was right there. And since then, Kanye and Chris have spoken a few times and it's all good. But yeah. We got like 1 minute left. 1 minute. KP, do you have any old source mags? No. I have a few, including I think three issues featuring your brother. I have no source magazines. Remember when the source was everything? Have you heard Cube before NWA? He sounds like the fourth Beastie Boy. No. Um, Ice Cube is one of my favorite rappers ever. Actually, he's in my top 5 favorite rappers of all time. But B-Ball says, how is that not a diss by Cube? That's what I say. But if Cube says he didn't mean it like that and they spoke it out, I have to chill. It has nothing to do with me. I'm on the sideline. But what other way could you mean? Some rappers are heaven sent, but self-destruction don't pay the fucking rent. Like, man, I ain't down with all that extra. I'm trying to get money. Like, I don't know. I don't know. My favorite KRS One album is Never Forget. Any stories on that album? No, I was not around for that. I'd have to listen to it though to see if I got any songs thrown on there. Look at where 50's today and look where Kanye. Well, they both have had amazing success though. Like 50 went into a whole different lane. It wasn't Get Rich versus Graduation. It was Curtis versus Graduation. Yeah, Philly She. But the first single was I Get Money, Money I Got. We Run New York. It wasn't. Did I say Get Rich? Maybe I didn't mean Get Rich or Die Trying. It was not that. It was the album with I Get Money, Money I Got. That album sold 600,000 the first week. I remember that. Yeah, you said it's called Curtis. The album from '08. That was the Curtis album. Yeah, I said Get Rich. I didn't mean Get Rich. T. Dyson says I Get Money is 50 best song ever. Period. We're in it's 10:02. We're in double OT, y'all. Um, Tybo, it was Flashing Lights, not Stronger. No, Stronger was the first single. Flashing Light came after that. Flashing Light might have been the third single. What's the one with T Pain? I'm good. I'm good. And he says 50, 50 said, go ahead and keep. He says 50's line in record. When they were Stronger was the first single off that album, if I recall. I think I'm pretty sure about that. B-Boy, so 50 never came at Chris on that How to Rob song, but I guess he did say Rain Ghost name, and I guess it was an issue initially. You know what's funny about that too? Here's a more exclusive, y'all. When that How to Rob song first came out, Chris loved that shit. I remember Chris told me that right around the time when that song was out, so I guess this is before 50 got shot, somebody introduced 50 to KRS. That's how they first met. And Chris told 50, yo, I love that song, How to Rob. Why you ain't say my name in it? Why you ain't put me in it? That's what Chris said to 50. And 50 was going, nah, 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 like that. And it was funny. Chris told me this. He said, I saw 50 Cent and I told him, why you ain't put me in this song? Yo, Chris is hilarious. And 50 just laughed. They just laughed. But yes, um, he did not diss Chris in that song, but Chris wish he did. Yeah, Good Life. I could not get Good Life out of my head. Good Life. That record was dope. And Flashing Lights. Yeah, Buffalo got Flashing Lights was banging. That video was weird though. That's after his mother passed. He had the girl tied up in the trunk. The video was weird, but the song was fire, man. Gregory says Kunye. I'm gonna leave that right there. Um, Betty Joe says 1 minute left, Kenny. Top 35 movies of all time in order. That's funny. We got a chat. I'm gonna get this one more chat before we jump out of here. Silk Child, we got two chats on this. Do you remember when? Do you remember the Karis one Back to the Lab album? I pretty much remember all of them. Back to the Lab. I was on that album. It's an EP, right? This is like 6 songs. I did a song on that album. I might have done 2 songs. It's 6 songs. That was in like '09, right? Yeah, I remember that. I think I did 2 songs on there. Ilroy, sorry I missed your chat. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna jump off. I've been with my wife since De La Soul is Dead came out. That's how I keep track of how long we've been together. Does your wife know that? I loved De La Soul is Dead. I always tell a story on this channel for those that's new. I was chilling with Chris Lighty. Rest in peace to the great Chris Lighty. We was riding around in his car in New Jersey, and he had the advanced copy of that tape, and he popped it in, and it was so dope to me, man. I was in his car losing my shit. The production, the skits, the rhymes, how everything was flowing. I was like, this is it. And I love 3 Feet High and Rising. So I couldn't wait to hear New Daylight. When I heard that, I lost it. I lost it so much that Chris Lighty popped out the cassette and was like, here, take it, man. I was like, yo, thank you. I had it for a long time and I lost it. It was a tape with it was a blue writing on it. Chris Lighty gave me that. But yeah, please tell me if your wife knows that she is um being measured by that. Not measured, the time is being measured by that. CMC says that was my bad, KP, wrong 50 album. Yeah. I gotta get out of here, y'all. We're in double OT. Hey, Boogie says, thank you. Cube was fire. Cube was fire. Cube is historic. Um, I do love some of his early stuff, but I can't listen to Kanye anymore. Kanye has made comments for me that are unforgivable. Tracy says, double OT, fam. Please hit the like button. We're in double OT, y'all. I'm jumping off in a minute. I'm just trying to get um the last little bit of comments in here. Bebo says, KP, that's the best thing I heard all week. Which thing is? Um, Tybo says, yeah, but Flashing Lights was the song KRS Diss. Nah, I don't think so. The album wasn't even out yet. But even if he dissed Flashing Lights, Chris has his own opinion. He could diss Flashing Lights. He could not like or not like whatever he wants. But I know that he likes 50, so I know that he would have rolled with, even if he didn't even hear any music, he would have said 50. But I believe Stronger was out because I hadn't even heard Flashing Lights. That album wasn't even out yet. Because they were saying, Chris, who do you got? Like the buildup was who's going to win this sales thing. And they were like, KRS, who do you got? The album wasn't even out. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Flashing Lights. Yeah, BTS was an EP, not an album. Yes, I got a track on there. Um, I'm getting off, y'all. I keep saying it, but I'm at the very bottom. Let me go to the very freaking bottom. Kanye was the beginning of sensitive rap. I think I Need Love was the beginning of sensitive rap. LL, but yeah. Kanye was a different kind of sensitive. Just like KRS appreciates How to Rob because it's creative like Can't Wake Up. I'm like, yeah. Plus KRS likes aggressive hungriness. It was the hungriness of 50 that KRS, he reminds him of a young KRS in the South Bronx days. He liked the hunger. Same way he loved the hungriness of Tretch. That's why he loved Tretch so much. He loves hungry MCs. Yeah, Good Life by Kanye and T-Pain. That was banging too. All right, I'm out of here, y'all. I've been holding y'all up for long enough. Um, Everybody enjoy the weekend. Yes, Cynthia says, yeah, I'm gonna leave it right here. This is the last comment. I'm gonna leave. Chat family, enjoy the weekend. Yes, please, everybody, be safe. And I want to see everybody on Tuesday. If you get a chance, please check out the For the Win that I dropped yesterday. Get a shirt if you don't have the shirt. get the book, hit the like button, and I will catch you guys, God willing. See, I'm still scrolling. I'll catch you guys, God willing, on Tuesday. All right. I'm out of here.